Welcome to the Prophecy Club. Our topic today is the calm before the storm. I believe that these are the last of the good old days. So in preparing for today's program, I just simply asked here. I looked in my heart, Lord, what do you want to say in the program today? Looked in my heart, and this is what he's laid on my heart to say today. We have talked about a lot of things. We've been through a lot of different pieces of information, but essentially what it's all saying is it's coming down to this, that this is the calm before the storm. This is the darkness before the dawn. These are the last of the good old days. And the storm, the shaking of the church, is about to arrive. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go through quick a lot of things we've talked about in the past. And the reason is I don't think you're going to hear a whole lot new. Yes, you will hear some new things. But what I want to try to do is move you from the bug's eye view today up to the bird's eye view. In other words, let's kind of back off from looking at the little details. But let's back off and let's really look at the overall picture of where we've been, where we are, so that we can see where we're going from a bird's eye view. Okay, let's start here. Talked about this the other day. Georgia Guidestones. Now, the point here is it says that they want to reduce the population to under 500 million, meaning they want to kill about 11 out of every 12 people. That's how the Moloch and Baal worshipers worship their God. We talked about that, and I remember that. Also, Revelation 6:1 tells us what to look for when the tribulation's about to start. Yes, we might hear the sound of the opening of the first seal, but we might not. I pray we do. But what we can look for is war. In verse 2, it says, the angel went forth conquering to conquer. Verse 4, powers given him that sat there to take peace from the earth, that they should kill one another. So one of the ways we can spot when we have moved into the tribulation is great wars. Okay, well, is there anything saying that we might be coming close to a great war? Is there any kind of saber rattling? And the answer is, unfortunately, yes. These are just some recent headlines. This is all the same day, November 17th, allhowturnradioshow.com. And yes, I do look in a lot of places. Plus, I get videos and audios and newspaper articles sent in from you out there. By the way, thank you, askstan at prophecyclub.com. But it seems like this guy, Benjamin Fulford, many times have the things that relate most to the things in Bible prophecy. Headline, Biden throws Taiwan under the bus. Okay, so this has been a big sticky wicket for a long time. Is China going to be allowed to take over Taiwan? And of course, I like the best explanation I heard the other day, that basically China are the not so bright ones, to say it kindly. Whereas most of those Chinese that have a lot going for them and a lot upstairs, so to speak, have moved to Taiwan. So China wants Taiwan for the brilliance, for the technology, and for the ideas. And it appears that now Biden is about to let them do that. Can that cause a World War III? Yep. We know it doesn't happen that way, but nevertheless, it could. Next headline, Ukraine tells EU leaders prepare for war with Russia. Really? Okay, I mean, it's not a joke. They're moving equipment, both Ukraine and Russia, towards each other. Next headline, Belarus cuts off oil to Poland. Those are fighting words. These are the kind of words you hear just before a world war starts. Matter of fact, one of the people say that what World War II was really over is oil. That America cut off Japan's oil, so Japan had to do something. I don't know for certain that that's true. It probably sounds reasonable. But the point is, these are fighting words. All of these headlines are fighting words, and they all came out the same day, November 17th also. Motion for mistrial in Rittenhouse case, prosecutors withheld and altered evidence. Oh, you mean the bad guys would cheat? Surely not. But what is the issue with Rittenhouse? Basically, it's whether we have the authority to use our weapons to protect ourselves. Bottom line, that's what's at stake. And once again, you see the bad guys cheating because they want to destroy America. Brothers and sisters, we got to be praying. We got to be praying. Let's go on. Headline: FBI investigating vials labeled smallpox at Philadelphia laboratory just weeks after Bill Gates publicly warned of, quote, smallpox terror attacks coming. Now, why is that so bad? Well, he goes on to explain. He says, choose these vials labeled smallpox, an extremely deadly virus that was eradicated in the 70s, were discovered at a Merck vaccine research facility near Philadelphia. Now, my question is this. If it was eradicated, why do we even have any more vials filled with smallpox? Seems to me like it ought to be tossed into the fire and broken and burned. But they didn't do that. Why? Because they want to use this to kill people. That's what Ball does. He kills people. He goes on to say no evidence that anyone's been exposed to the pathogen, but he says they can cause an actual full-scale smallpox breakout. And he says these frozen vials were found by a laboratory worker, but not to worry, pretty sure none of it got out. But the vials and the contents appear intact. Now, my question is again, what are they doing with it? Should have been destroyed. The CDC will transport the vials to another location for testing. They do think we're stupid. Testing. In other words, they want to keep them so that they can use them later. What they should have done is immediately destroyed them. Wouldn't it be nice if there was no such thing as a smallpox vaccine or a smallpox virus, is what I meant to say, any place on the globe? Wouldn't that be nice? Okay. He says 15 vials, 5 were smallpox, 10 were labeled vaccine. Okay, it doesn't make any difference. What are they doing with it? Obviously nefarious things. They say that this was eradicated in 1980, but it has a kill ratio of about 30%. So do we want 30% of the people to get this to die? Yes, we do, if we are the Moloch and Baal worshipers. But if we're Christians, no, we don't want to see anybody die. We want to see all people saved. Again, we're in the last of the good old days. This is the calm before the storm. September 6th, my opinion, started 7 years of famine based upon these 2 cows being a prophecy. Now, if they're a prophecy, and I believe they are a prophecy, and if they are, then that means we got 7 years of plenty starting September 25th of 2014 and 7 years of famine starting September 6th of 2021. Now, when I said this back in early September of 2014, people went, what? What? I mean, you have a good reputation, you're pretty accurate, you're a credible guy, but really? Well, now, maybe not so much of a miss, okay? Australian military being trained to force the anti-V in door-to-door attacks. Next headline, Australia seizing, look at this carefully, this is prophecy, seizing bank accounts of those that refuse the mark of the beast. Oh, no, that's not what it says. Or is that a future headline? Australia is seizing bank accounts of those that are refusing the mark of the beast. Is that what it could be saying? Go on. 2 U.S. Seawolf fast attack subs show up in San Diego and do some kind of a little secret thing where they put something in 2 of these fast attack submarines. What are they putting in there? Oh, well, they're just bringing them a lettuce. They're bringing them a salad. They're taking them hot dogs. No, they're probably putting nuclear weapons on there. And they're probably doing it because even they are suspecting World War III could be right around the corner. They're arming. So are we seeing any saber rattling? Are we seeing anything that says that we might be close to World War III? We might be close to the tribulation? Yes, we are. Next headline. Global food prices set to soar as the oil and gas crunch continues. U.S. and talks pay hundreds of millions to families separated at the border. We do have a hole in our head in America. When people violate our law, they come across the border and we give them $450,000. We do have a hole in our head. We have to watch if we walk in the wind because it will whistle. But see, these people are not stupid. They're actually following a plan, and that plan is to destroy the Christian nation, i.e. America. Next headline, dozens of ships holding $24 billion in goods float outside of California's biggest ports. Why? Because they're creating a man-made shortage. Oh, is it really man-made? Yes, this article tells that the California legislature passed a law that says you got to be union in order to move the containers. Of course, that all of a sudden now there's not enough trucks to move the containers, so it is a man-made, it is a created shortage. Why is there a created shortage? Because they're getting tired of the good guys arresting them and flying them off to these prison islands, and this is the retaliation. And there's more retaliation coming too. Remember, Dmitry was told some of the people start fighting against the government. I believe that that's sabotage, and a lot of it, and also looting and burning. Headline, eco-terrorist or supply chain sabotage. Multiple bombs found on ships and barges in the Ohio River. Not one, but two. Now, were those the ones they wanted us to find? My opinion, yes. At this point, they're still shooting a shot across the bow. At this point, the Moloch and Baal worshippers are still warning us. But at some point, they're not going to be warning us anymore. And when is that some point? That's the question. And I believe that some point is when that internal revolution starts, when those tanks roll into Washington, D.C., and the illegals are kicked out, and the legitimate, I have to choose my words carefully, and that's nothing, we've lost our freedom in this country. If I say the wrong thing, then I get cut off. You know what I'm talking about. So they're trying to remove the illegitimate and to set up the legitimate. And as a result, suitcase nukes go off all across America. And then a lot of people get a lot of angry, and then probably that's when God says, oh, well, if you're going to be that angry, then I'm also going to hit you with an earthquake up the New Madrid Fault. Okay, let's go on. Headline, CEO of Blackstone warns power shortages and riots coming to developed nations soon. Propane Armageddon could leave rural homes without heat. Again, this is still a shot across the bow. Baal is saying, I don't like what you're doing. Again, it was quoted to Benjamin Fulford. I'll read it to make sure I'm quoting it correctly. We have been ruling this planet for thousands of years, and we will destroy it rather than give it up. That's what they're saying. These are warnings. Now, I know that the average person doesn't understand this, but believe me, people in high places, they know exactly what's going on. And I don't think that they're backing down. And I think that they're going to continue to arrest these people. Problem is, I don't think America has enough righteousness to actually be victorious and overcome them. So says the prophecies. The article continues on, which I won't read all of it, but the next subheadline says, energy prices to triple. Next subheadline, complete outages of LNG and propane. They're telling us what they're going to do. Just like last year, they hit us with all kinds of cold, and then they turned off the electricity during the cold. You think all that was an accident? It's not an accident. These people really are in charge. Next headline, worldwide arrests, executions as Khazari Mafia takedown accelerates. This is proof of what I'm talking about. There is a battle. There's a battle right now between light and darkness. It's not Republicans and Democrats, my brothers and sisters. It's really Christians, or really, at the end of the day, it's Christ versus Lucifer. Or more specifically, we would say Christ versus the Antichrist, or Christ versus the beast. It is evil against good. It is Christians against non-Christians. And this battle is going on, and right now, for probably the first time, at least in my lifetime, maybe the first time in human history, the good guys are actually trying to stomp out the bad guys. Too bad it didn't happen 100, 200 years ago, and perhaps they would have been successful. But that's what they're trying to do. So this is the calm before the storm. These are the last of the good old days. As you recall, more further proof. August 24th, essentially, all of these years, if you wanted to buy crude oil, you had to go buy dollars, use dollars to buy the crude oil, which made the value of the dollar go up, and it gave America a great advantage. However, as of August 24th, now the Saudis signed an agreement to have the Russians protect them. So now the dollar doesn't have to be used to facilitate crude oil sales, which means the dollar is going to go down, 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 just like several of the people have prophesied. Let's go on, though. It says this is a $500 billion manufacturing operation in these countries. Costs may increase to $7 billion. Q phones will be dispersed to all people on Earth. The QFS will create its own network that will work off its trinary code and perhaps a G8 network for SATCOM. What's it talking about? It's talking about a way to force the mark of the beast. Now, how can you force the mark of the beast? What plan might they use? Well, I've come up with a suggested plan, and I think you're going to recognize it. 1, start by selling the idea of everybody taking the mark of the beast. Make it seem like a good idea. You want to take it for your own safety, to keep you from losing your money. Sound familiar? Read it. Put it in every news broadcast, showing people actually receiving the tattoo of the mark of the beast. Make it seem like everyone is doing it. It's the right thing to do. Now, phase 2, they would use restrictions. Well, you can't go on an airline or a train, you can't go into a restaurant or movie theater, some kind of a public place like that without it. Does that sound familiar? Phase 3, threats. Well, you must have it to keep your job. There's a dateline been given, and if you don't get the, got to fill in the blank, mark of the beast by then you lose your job. Does that sound familiar? Phase 4, money. Well, you're not going to be able to buy or sell. You can't get into the new QFS system without the mark of the beast. You got to have it. Does that sound familiar? Well, of course, Revelation 13, 16, and 17 says that it's coming at a time when no man buy or sell, save he had the mark of the name of the beast or the number of his name. Meaning, the last phase is they're going to threaten you with your money. Is that true? Or is there another final phase? Well, wait a minute. The final phase has to be them threatening us with money. Oh, really? Would you believe there's another phase? Yes, there is. Phase 5, or final phase, is threatening you. You take the mark, or you lose your life. Revelation 13:15, he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast, which I believe will be a clone, some kind of a half man, half machine thing, image of the beast should both speak and cause, as many who do not worship the beast, the image of the beast, should be killed. Now, as a refresher, let me take you to this I just got this just today. Tesla is coming out with what it calls Pi phones. These phones are already developed and manufactured in Germany, United Kingdom, and final software upgrade into the United States. They're also called Q phones. This smartphone is three-dimensional and of the highest quality, and it'll become one of the main tools for the direct credit and expenditures in daily life for consumer, retail, and business, commerce, domestically and internationally. I wrote about this in my book about 3 years ago, called Miss the Mark. And of course, at that time, we had no revelation. We had no information that this was coming out. I did that because I could feel it in here. This was where they're going. They're going to have all transactions. They're going to do away with coins. They're going to do away with paper money. It's all going to be this guy right here, our cell phone. We will buy or sell through these satellites. I've been saying this, nothing new, okay? Let's go on with the article. Oh, no. Instead, let's jump to this article. This was a vision given to David Phillips, who works part-time with the Prophecy Club. It's the call to kill Christians as unbelievers. In other words, this is the final phase. The final phase is not you won't be able to buy or sell. The final phase is if you don't take the mark of the beast, we're going to kill you. Essentially, that's what this says. So in this vision here, and I'll skip part of it. So he looked younger. He's looking now at the mark of the beast. He says, or this is looking at the beast. He looked younger than past popes, not frail. He was maybe in his 30s or 40s with dark hair and dark facial hair. He says, key point was he was threatening and attacking the Protestants, shouting that the true church must rise up and unite against the Protestants. He was shouting that the Protestants are not true believers, but rather unbelievers. The crowd was shouting in rage and hatred in support of him and his words. He said the penalty for them must be death. So we're going to be threatened with the mark of the beast, not just if you don't have it, you can't buy or sell. But if you don't have it, he sends the unbelievers after the believers and reverses the roles. Says, you guys are really the believers. These over here that don't have the mark of the beast, they are the unbelievers. Go kill them all. He says they had been called to action. The entire world would now rise to power to kill Protestants in all nations. Killing us, the true believers, are fewer in number than there, and they began hunting and killing those people that did not have the mark of the beast. Now, does that sound familiar with something like maybe the anti-V, what they're doing today? Remember, Revelation 13:10 says, and he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. In other words, if you turn people over to the New World Order, or if you turn people over that do not have the mark of the beast, or if you turn people over that did not take the anti-V, you know what I'm saying, right? Okay. Then you're going to be turned over. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Now, here's my point. Here's the patience and the faith of the saints. Now, the key word to understanding the point of this verse is the word patience. Today, our word patience means, well, hold your mouth. Don't do something, maybe you're angry, okay? Don't necessarily jump right into it. Wait a minute, count to 10, something like that. But that's not what the word patience means in Revelation. When he says, here's the patience, he's saying, don't quit. Don't quit Jesus. In other words, this is a time when we as Christians are not supposed to pick up our shooting arms and kill or hurt or turn in those people that are coming after us. Our only option is to run. This is part of the plan. He's saying, I know you don't like it. I know you want to kill these people that have the mark of the beast, but it's saying, nope, don't do it. Don't do it. This is my plan. In other words, yes. And I saw under the altar the souls of those who were beheaded for the witness of Jesus and for the testimony which they held. And they cried with a loud voice, saying, How long, O Lord, holy and true, dost thou not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth? White robes were given to every one of them, and said of them that they should rest yet for a little season, till their fellow servants and their brethren that should be killed as they were should be fulfilled. Meaning, God has a plan to bless a lot of Christians by them being killed for his name. Now, if you're in the right place with the Lord, you understand that. If you're off in the world and the things of the world, and you love the world more than you love Jesus, then you don't understand that. But I believe most people watching today say, here I am. I'll die for my Lord. And that's a good thing. I believe that this is, well, we have 3 witnesses showing the top mark is what the mark of the beast is going to look like. And that we have 2 witnesses saying that the bottom is what the 666 will look like, or the number of the beast. I've covered this several times, so I'll just briefly refresh your memory. So this might be very similar to what the mark of the beast looks like. This is another alternative. It might be red rather than yellow, but I've got several people say it's yellow. They've seen this in dreams and things and visions. This is what the number of the beast will look like. This is actually a 666 in a spiral. We've made a whole program about this a couple of weeks ago, so you can go and listen to it. So I won't detail a whole lot of it. But the point is, these are 5 things to avoid. Do not worship the beast or his image, or receive his mark or his name or the number. Now, in summary today, I believe that we are in the calm before the storm. We are in the darkness before the dawn. These are the last remaining days of the good old days, because when the internal revolution starts, if America had enough righteousness, I think it would be successful. I think that we would be able to overcome the Moloch and Baal worshipers and set up a new constitutional republic that perhaps America would get 40 more years. Right now, we have got to pray, or that might not happen. We've got to pray, we've got to believe. So I'm asking everybody, continue your prayers. Continue to believe that America will be successful and God will give us more time. Hey, this is Stan, and I am in front of the church. That is the new sign that you guys gave us, and I wanted to say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. That's Whataburger. That's our new sign. That is all lighted up. People pull through Whataburger and they place the order here, and they have to look up at our sign. And this is my thank you to all of you. You gave us that sign. Thank you, thank you, thank you. In 2017, I memorized the book of Revelation. I was shown a secret door that links the feasts to the prophecies of Revelation. For the first time, the book of Revelation can be understood. It can be put in correct chronological order. I got 30 revelations, 2 visions, and 1 audible voice. One prophetic word said, there's a lock that I put over a word in Revelation that I'm going to open to you, and it will turn many books written on the end-time message into obsolete books. That's this book. This is the granddaddy. If you want to understand Bible prophecy, that's the book to get. Miss the mark. Well, what is the most important information every beating heart on the globe needs to know? Well, after except Jesus, of course, it would be don't take the mark of the beast, because those taking the mark of the beast do not get soul death, but they're tossed into the lake that burns with fire and brimstone for all eternity with the beast, the false prophet, and 1,000 years later, Lucifer, and they have no escape. Miss the Mark is the book you give to people that you love, you don't want to see tossed into the lake of fire. God's warnings to America explains the modern dreams and visions and audible voices I believe are from God. Dimitri Duduman, Michael Boldea, Leslie Johnson, Henry Groover, Shane Warren, Terry Bennett, Maurice Sklar, Augusto Perez, Doug Metzger, Bree Keaton, and much more. Tribulation Secrets in Daniel explains how to spot the Antichrist early and what to do. His physical appearance, sound of his voice, how he rises to power, the fact that Nebuchadnezzar will be a resurrected Antichrist and beast. He rises from the bottomless pit, explains the 7 final world governments. How pre-trib won. How the big lie beat the truth, and the people would have it so. It settles the rapture question, why pastors teach pre-trib. It explains how the 501c3 board members actually hire, fire, and tell the preacher what he is going or is not going to preach. It also covers the secret door, what is the morning star, what is the wrath of God, eternity entering time, who are the nations, what is an overcomer, proof of the post-trib, and 25 pre-trib questions answered. It will answer the question for you about the rapture. Terry Sock is a prophecy student, and he reads his King James Bible, and he believes in winning souls so much he is supporting the Prophecy Club so that we can win more souls. So if you want to support someone that loves prophecy and wants to win souls, I'm going to send you to cornerstoneassetmetals.com, where you can get all sorts of precious metals, gold, silver, rhodium, palladium, and things like that. cornerstoneassetmetals.com. The Watchman Package. Get 2 2-foot by 3-foot color updated charts, my handwritten book of the Book of Revelation, 5 DVDs where I taught the School of the Watchman, and 5 Secret Door books to understand Bible prophecy, valued at $355, all for a gift of just $200 at prophecyclub.com. Click like, share, subscribe, and send to a friend.